welcome to Saturday Fun Day with Connie. My guest star is the fabulous, the one, the only, Krystal with Krystal the Yarny Chicken and Crazy Cat Lady. How are you today, Krystal?
Good. Cold, but good.
I know we're both having the cold weather with the rain, which makes it like even worse because that rain, like it chills you to the bone. Let's see. Danny, Joe, Tina, and Samantha, at least they were here. I don't know if they're still here or not. How are y'all doing? And what are y'all working on? And Nisi just joined us, and Anita. Hi, ladies. How are y'all? What are y'all working on? Thank you, Nisi. So, have any of y'all been seeing my little shorts lately with Alley Cat? She's been having fun becoming a little YouTube diva. She's been in about 4 or 5 shorts now. I need to try to get Sophie in one. But like Sophie just kind of just been doing her own thing. Trying to stay away from Allie. Let's see. Okay, Samantha's still here, and she's working on a cottage core mosaic blanket and granny square blanket and single crochet. Awesome. And Nisi's working on one of 7 elf hats for myself. Those elf hats are so cute. I love the holiday hats. I really do. She's working on them for herself and 6 other coworkers. Awesome. So today, me and Krystal are going to be talking about our knitting journeys, how we started knitting, kind of things that has happened along the way, our progression. I can't talk today. I blame it on the cold weather.
Yeah.
Anita saying I need to put a hat on Allie. You know, I did think about trying to make her a holiday hat. Sorry. Sorry about that. I did think about making her a holiday hat, trying to get her to wear it in a short, but I don't know. I just don't see Allie letting me put a hat on her. And we also have Angela and Regina that joined us. How are y'all? And what are y'all working on? Angela's drinking water. She's just about done with her 3rd crochet slipper socks. Awesome. I can't wait to see it once you're done, Angela. Yeah, I got my coffee here, which has already gotten kind of cool. That's how cold it is. I got some Starbucks holiday blend. What are you drinking, Krystal?
Coffee, just regular Folgers with hazelnut creamer.
I got French vanilla. So, are y'all drinking coffee trying to stay warm today? Let us know in the comments. But I'm ready for spring. I'm already ready for spring. I'm like, I don't like this colder weather. I'm freezing. And I don't like the time change.
Yeah.
It's like I get sleepy early. I want the weather back the way it was.
The only thing I like about the time change is Tom comes earlier. He shows up earlier. He's showing up as soon as it's dark, and that's like 6 o'clock. I'm like, so yay, I get to see Tom a little bit earlier.
Aww. So has he been friendlier?
Oh yeah. He's being real lovey-dovey. He's actually loving on me some. He'll love on my leg, like walk past me and love on my leg. There was one day he actually jumped up to my hand like he used to, but he's only done that one time. So, but.
Oh, Allie's been like really friendly lately.
Aw.
I don't know how long it's going to last this time. You never know with her.
Yeah.
We have Sally that joined us. Hi, Sally. How are you today? And what are you working on? Anita says she's had 1 cup of coffee so far. Now she's on her mellow yellow.
Mm.
And Regina's got coffee and working on a hat. It's cold here. Yeah, y'all have been getting a lot of snow. Regina sent me some pictures of her snow. Let's see. Okay. So the questions we're going to be asking today, feel free to answer along with us for those of y'all that knit. If you don't knit, you could either like let us know like if it's something you want to learn how to do, if you've attempted it, kind of tell us about your experiences trying to learn. Or if you haven't even fooled with it at all, you can just tell us about your crochet journey, apply it to crochet. But let us know you're talking about crochet in the comments because we'll presume knitting. So how long have you been knitting, Krystal?
Let's see. I believe I started learning in August or September of 2020. So 2 years.
See, I think I started learning May of, was it May? It's either May of 2018 or May of 2019.
I think we started the same year, but you started with knitting and I started with crochet. And like, so I think you started knitting in 2019. I started in 2020, but I learned crocheting fully, relearned it in 2019 and started knitting in 2020. So I think we were reversed.
Yeah. And the funny thing in May, the memory came up on my feed, but I can't remember which year it was. I just know it was before 2020 because I learned crochet September of 2020. And I remember I started in May for knitting.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. We have Linda that joined us. Hi, Linda. How are you today? And what are you working on? So what made you want to learn how to knit?
Really don't remember what initiated me wanting to learn, because when I first started crocheting, I'm like, I don't think I want to learn how to knit. Seems boring. Seems, like it'd take forever. And something just in me, I wanted to learn something different. And I had seen different stuff that other people had done. And I'm like, oh, that would be interesting. So my grandmother ended up teaching me a little bit, and then I learned the rest from YouTube. And so that kind of just, I guess, it took off from there.
Yeah, for me, I tried to learn crochet. I couldn't get it. Like, once I got to the end of the row, I had no idea what I was doing. And I grew frustrated. So then I moved on to loom knitting. And, I started making stuff with the looms. But every time I turned around, when I would actually find patterns, it would always seem to be knitted patterns, which made me want to learn how to knit. So one day I decided, let me play around with this and see if I get anywhere. And then I started picking it up, and it was love at first stitch. Let's see, we have Angie that joined us. Hi, Angie. How are you today? And what are you working on? But yeah, I was backwards because everyone seems to have a harder time learning knitting over crochet. Yeah. And for me, I had a harder time learning crochet. I like being backwards. That's like, don't tell me something's easy. Do not tell me something's easy. I will find a way to make it difficult for myself.
Yeah. For me, it was actually kind of easy. The hardest part was trying to learn how to hold everything. And it was completely different than crochet. You're learning with two things instead of one, So it was like, when I first started, and I've said this many times, I had the really long knitting needles, really long ones. And I had to stick it in between my ankles, one of them straight up, while the other one I'm wrapping the yarn and pulling the stitches off this way. So, I mean, it was a big learning, but now I can actually hold them, undo like a knitter is supposed to.
And the thing is, the worst thing I found about knitting was avoiding the drop stitches.
Yeah.
That takes a while. Because I find you got to learn how to hold your hands that kind of block the stitches.
Yeah.
A lot of it's about how you hold your fingers. And don't let that yarn get too close to the end tip.
Yep.
A lot of people want to knit the stitches at the very tip, and that's usually how you get drop stitches.
How you drop a stitch, yeah. Like on these, which I don't know if I can pull it any closer. Okay. My stitches I keep right about here where it gets this size. So they sit it right about here when I knit it. I don't go all the way to the tip. So and also I'm holding my stitches like right here in my hand, and then I'll pull it off like that. And then if I need to, I slide a few up and then knit them.
Yeah, because it's like you really want to kind of like keep that top stitch like pressed down onto your needle. Let's see. Regina says it's been 2 years for her that she's been knitting. Angie says, I'm doing good working on top-down sweater on my hand-made circular knitting needles. And the colors are 3 different shades of purple. Ooh, that sounds pretty. I still want to see that when you're done, Angie. And we have Dorla that joined us. Hi, Dorla. How are you? And what are you working on? So, how did you learn how to knit?
Mama taught me initially, and it was with 3-weight yarn. And it was so small, I could barely kind of see the stitches. And she initially taught me how she knits. And I had eventually found out that it's called grandma's style. I think it was a form of Russian or something like that, but it's just how she knits. And
upside down.
Yeah, like when you actually knit, you go in the stitch this way and you'll take it off. She goes in like that. It still comes out knit and purl, and she purls the same, but it's slightly different. Well, I knitted that way for probably a year and then switched it up. And but I couldn't do very well on the 3-weight, so I went to a 5-weight and I took off. I was able to do it a lot better on a 5-weight because I could see the stitches, I could control them a little better, and it was just a lot easier for me to see. And once I actually got comfortable with that, I went down to 4-weight, then 3-weight, then 1-weight. So
yeah, for me, I learned from Shandy or Shan. Is it Shandy or Shandy?
I really don't know how you pronounce it, but I know who you're talking about. The lady from
Expressions. And I learned a lot from her. I find she has good knitting tutorials to learn. Then
she is very good.
From there, I learned a lot from Morley Bird. I found patterns that had the video tutorial on Morley Bird's channel, and they also had a written pattern. So I learned a lot from her, pattern tutorials. That's how I learned how to read a pattern. And really, this right here was my first Morley Bird pattern. And I think this was the second thing. No, it's the third thing I knitted. But you can kind of tell, like, my center is crooked.
Yeah.
I messed,
But
you know,
not too bad.
There's mistakes. But I mean, this was one of my first projects.
Yeah.
But as you notice, you know, I kind of jumped into stuff because this wasn't a real basic pattern.
Yeah.
And I find that's how you learn a lot of times.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. If you just jump into something, that's when you begin to learn. You know, same thing with me, but it was my first knit shawl. I did the Expression Fiber Arts, and I probably said this wrong, Aclifia, or I can't remember how you pronounce it. It's been a while, but this shawl had a lot of stuff in it that I had never done before. And this is that red and black one. Hope I don't pull my headphones. But this had a lot of stitches I had never done. And I had never done yarn overs. I had never done an SK2P or an SKP. And there was like one other thing I had not done, like the edging on this, you go sideways. Okay, so you knit the shawl this way, and then the edging, you go this way. And I had never done that before. So it was completely new. I mean, a lot of stuff that I had never done. There are tons of mistakes in this one, but I learned a lot. And by the time I got through, I was very proud of it. And I still say it's one of my favorite patterns just because of this design right there.
It's beautiful.
I love that. And that's what made me want to knit my first shawl, was that section only.
But really, that's really how you learn. You just got to dive into it. And that's how you learn stuff the most. You know, don't get overwhelmed. You worry about something when you hit that point where you got to do a certain stitch. And then normally I'll look up that stitch. Let's see, we have some
That's
new people
exactly
in the
what
house.
I did.
We have Lorele, Mia, Mama, and is that everybody? I think so.
And she's referring to Mama as Patricia Walker. That's my grandmother, if y'all don't know.
How is the biscuits, Mama? So how is everyone doing, and what are y'all working on? And Mia saying that she test knitted that shawl.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Nisi says, I'm still here just working. So, what was the first thing you ever knitted, Krystal?
I think it was a scarf. It was a light blue scarf, and I tried to wet block it, and it was acrylic. And that's when I finally found out you can't wet block acrylic. The second time I had wet it down and laid it on the table, and after it dried, it still curled up, and I'm like, okay, that's not working. So I think that was the first thing I ever knitted. And then I knitted a hat flat on knitting needles. So Momo says the biscuits will be ready for supper.
I'm coming over, Mama. Be ready.
And then I think the second thing, the second hat I ever knitted was this Christmas hat. And it was also knit flat.
Ooh.
And I sewn the back up. So being on a phone, I'm having to figure out how to hold this so y'all can see it. Anyway, but this was the second hat I had knitted. I think I gave the first one away, or I think I may have given it to my mom or my grandmother. Not really sure what I did with it, but I know it was pinkish. And so, yeah, this was actually, I think, Big Twist Christmas yarn.
Christmas yarns are always beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's one thing me and Krystal are different with. When she knits hats, she always does the flat knitting. I always knit them in the round.
Well, I have actually done that too. It's just
Oh,
when I
yeah.
first started out, I didn't I didn't know how to knit in the round when I was first knitting. So, I mean, I wanted to make a hat, so I had to knit it flat and find a tutorial for that. It rhymed and I didn't even mean to. But the one hat that I knitted in the round, I tried to use DPNs. I completely lost my place on where I was, where I started. I just kept going around and decreasing until it was small enough. But I think I was using like 3 or 4 times size down than the DPNs I was supposed to use because I didn't have the right size. So I was using teeny tiny, you know, I think it's a 3.5 that I'm using right now. So with bulky yarn, you know, trying to decrease it that way.
What I do is I put a stitch marker like under the first needle.
Yeah.
So that way I know which needle is the first needle, where it starts at.
I didn't even think of doing that. I mean, I was so new to knitting, it didn't even cross my mind. So now I know.
Yeah, now I'm trying to get down the magic loop method for the decreases.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's been holding me back when it comes to getting that part of my knit along done, because I'm not like comfortable yet doing it. So I'm trying to have it down where I can explain it well when I show it.
Yeah.
Because it's awkward. Like, it's more awkward for me. I'm so used to doing it on double pointed needles. And then you can actually do the whole beanie, the magic loop method. So that's another aspect to look into making a beanie.
Yeah.
Let's see. Linda's asking, whose pattern do you use to flat knit hats?
I really don't know who it was, but I'm pretty sure it's still in my watch history, so I might could find it for you, and figure out whose tutorial I watched.
And you could probably look up like knit beanie, flat method or something like that. Like put flat in it, and they'll probably take you to tutorials. Ooh, Mia's making some sausage rolls. Sounds good. I'm on my way. And Anita's working on her Abigail cardigan. That's the one that you're doing the broomstick lace stitch, right? That's a beautiful stitch. And Lorele still hasn't tried biscuits again. She wants Mama to make a video.
My tablet's going dead. I gotta plug it in, or I won't be able to see the chat.
I'm just realizing I never answered the question about my first thing I knitted. Mine was a headband. I just did a simple headband. The next thing I did was a scarf, a rib stitch scarf, and then that purple shawl. I think this was my 4th project. And watch, you're gonna see some boo-boos on this. If I can find it. I know I dropped a stitch somewhere. And now, of course, I can't find it. Oh, here it is. Look, you see right there.
Yeah.
My boo-boo. Like I said, like knitters, you tend to see what they do like currently, but you don't see like their starting projects, all their boo-boos that they've made.
Yeah.
you know. So, when you're struggling with learning how to knit, don't let it make you feel defeated. You're going to make mistakes in your first projects. You learn
Or your
from
first 3 or 4, you know.
it. And sometimes even later on, you still make boo-boos because
Yeah.
when you're learning something new, you're going to make boo-boos.
Mhm.
Ooh, Regina says her first thing she knitted was a hat. Ooh, Mia has some hot coffee or tea. Ooh. I'm coming over to all y'all houses.
Make your rounds. I
Yeah.
have knit a headband also. It was more like a thick ear warmer thing. So I have done one of those also. And I think I don't remember if I knitted the whole piece flat and then folded it over, or if I knitted it in the round. I can't remember. Looks like I knitted in the round, but I can't really tell now. It's been over 2 years. I mean, about 2 years ago.
I know sometimes when someone
So
asks you a question about a project you made a while back, I'm like, I don't really remember. It's not that I don't want to help y'all or tell y'all. It's, or sometimes trying to find that pattern again, you're like, let me see if I can find it.
yeah.
Most of the time, I tend to have it saved on Ravelry. So
Mm-hmm.
usually I tend to be able to find stuff. Um, but yeah, the one thing though, when it comes to ear warmers, I love them, but I do not have ear warmer hair.
Yeah.
It's like if I wear my hair down, oh yeah, y'all would be laughing. So in order to wear them, I have to pull my hair back,
Mm-hmm.
which kind of defeats the purpose of it warming you up. Oh, we have Granny D in the house. How are you? And what are you working on? Ooh, Anita has chili. But I don't like beans, Anita, so I hope you don't have beans in it. All right. So my next question is, what type of things have you knitted?
Well, you
No.
saw a few of them. I also knitted, I found a little just pattern and ended up making it into a mug rug, a little coaster. And I
I
spilled
love
coffee on
those.
it, but where do I go? There.
That is
This little
cute.
design, and all I did was repeat it twice and then put the different colors on each end for the fringe. And I spilled coffee on this a while back, washed it off, and it still stained it. But it still does its purpose.
It's so cute.
So I knitted that, and let's see, I've knitted 3 shawls, 1 stole, 2 pairs of socks, 1 cardigan, and I'm working on another cardigan, couple of hats. So yeah.
For me, I've done headbands, scrunchies, shawls, beanies. Um, I did a dog sweater actually twice, but it was the same pattern. I just made one larger. Um, have I knitted anything else? I have I have knitted a couple of scarves.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that's everything I've knitted. Oh, I tried slippers once. And me, I kind of got the part that I was supposed to sew on. You know how like shoes, how they're the opposite, the opposite. Well, one of them
Mm-hmm.
I sewed on the wrong side of the slipper. Leave it to me. Let's see. We also have Nancy and someone else joined. Oh, Nancy and Kim. How are y'all? And what are y'all working on? Granny D just came in from the grocery store in CVS. You got some good groceries? Am I gonna want to come over to eat, Granny D? I got food on the mind, y'all. um, Anita says she does, but she mashes them so you won't see them. I I still won't. I can't do beans. I'll know they're there no matter what. I do
One
not
of the
like.
shawls I did, also you did, the Harani shawl. This one,
Yeah,
there's a lot of mistakes in this one that I made, but and it wasn't big enough. I should have kept going with the middle section, another set of rows, but I didn't. So it came out kind of small.
I should have brought mine around.
Yeah, I brought technically all my projects are like right here with me so I can show them.
I love how it had like the little flowers on it.
Yeah, that's what I messed up on. But the next one I did after that one had the same design on the bottom, which was that right there. Well, hold on.
I love that pattern too.
There we go. That it was on the one I just showed. And this one I absolutely love. I made no mistakes in this one. That's how easy this one was. And this one was called the Begonia Swirl Shawl. And I can't really hold it all up, but when you lay it out, it kind of goes in a circle. And this was so easy to figure out if you messed up because of how the stitches fell. You could tell if it was off or not because it would be like a stitch or two past where, like, say an increase or a decrease or something like that was it, you could tell. So that's when on this one, when I actually started learning how to know when it was not working right, when the pattern was messing up. So
But that's one that I want to make eventually. I love that
it was
pattern
so
for that
easy. I
shawl.
think you'll love it.
Yeah, the one I've been working. Well, I've taken a break with the holidays, because I want to get holiday stuff done. But after the holidays are over with, I'll be going back to my
Oh,
pretty as a peacock shawl. Well, it's actually upside down, I
that one
think.
is pretty.
Yeah, it's upside down.
That one is beautiful.
I fell in love with this pattern when I saw it.
Now, are you following the written instruction or are you following a
Yeah,
graph?
it's written.
Okay, send me a link to that one because I want to save it. That one, I don't know how to read graphs yet, so, and that's very hard to find some that have written patterns. Majority of the knit patterns out there go by graph. So, yeah.
Now, I do warn you that pattern does cost, I think, about $10. It's a more pricey
I'll
pattern.
save it until I have the money for it. So, yeah.
But it's like whenever I saw it, I'm like, I have to have this. I have to have it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Where was I? I think we both answered that question. Okay, my next question is, what knitting stitch did you struggle with the most?
Um, hmm. That's kind of hard because if I didn't know one, I'd go and look it up and watch the tutorial kind of like 2 or 3 times in a row and do it as I'm watching it. So I kind of get it down. But I guess the slip knit to pass over. I did that one wrong for a little while. I thought it was slip a stitch off, knit 2 stitches, and then pass it over. I don't know how I was doing it, but it kind of just I guess that one, or the way you have to yarn over from knit to a purl, or a purl to a knit, or, you know, that confused me. Like if you're doing a knit stitch and you have to yarn over and then you go into a purl, you have to do it a different way. Or if you're going to a purl and a yarn over and then a knit, you have to do it a completely different way. So it always confused me on which way I had to yarn over. So that's I guess the most complicated for me to actually remember.
See, for me, it was there's a stitch, and I've only used it for one pattern. It's called right twist, and then there's a left twist.
Mm.
And it wasn't that the stitch itself was really difficult to do. It was just, it was really tight because you got to do like all this stuff in one stitch. Which I'm going to explain how the those stitches work. The right twist, you knit 2 together, leaving stitches on left hand needle. Then next you insert the right hand needle from the front between the 2 stitches just knitted together and knit the stitch again. Finally, slip both stitches from left hand needle together. And like when I did this beanie, it was like all tight. Now the left twist with the right hand needle behind left hand needle, you skip 1 stitch and knit the second stitch in the back loop. Then insert right hand needle onto the backs of both stitches and knit 2 together through the back loops, inserting right needle from the right. And I'm going to pull up this beanie so y'all can see what it looks like. And it was the horts where you had to do these stitches. It's called Sweetheart Beanie. Let me see if I can get the picture bigger. There.
Oh, yeah.
But that's like, I struggled with that. And oh, and did it hurt my hands too. Because I mean, you're trying to pull that yarn so you can do everything you need to with the stitch. I probably should have used probably a looser tension. That probably would have helped. But yeah, that was kind of different. Let's see, we have Sororo in the house. How are you today? And what are you working on? And let's see. Oh, I hope you feel better, Sororo. She's been having a sinus infection. Okay, Mia's asking, do you freestyle knit creations or do you need patterns? For the most part, most people usually use patterns. Usually when you freehand, it's more like when you design patterns. I do some stuff with designing knitted color work beanies, that type of thing. Have you done any knit designs, Krystal?
No, but I am. That kind of is what I kind of adjusted the. Okay, let me back up a minute. This cardigan, it's not a sweater. This cardigan I just got finished doing, and
beautiful.
It's a pattern by Ashley Lillis here on YouTube, and it's called the Hillside Cardigan. I finished that, and the pattern that I'm working on, it's the same one, but I've adjusted it. I've adjusted the stitches. I mean, the stitch count. I've adjusted the size of it and different stuff. It's kind of like a guideline, but I'm kind of doing my own thing. So it's like I'm kind of following her pattern, but kind of venturing off and kind of slightly going off the pattern. Just using it more as a guideline. But it's going to look a little wonky because I'm working on the, what do you call it? the collar part that goes on the front panel around the neck and down the other panel. So it's going to look a little wonky here, but these are, there's the 2 sleeves.
Pretty.
And I just finished the edging part, the ribbing on the very bottom. And so I'm kind of using it as a guide, but still doing my own thing. But I've never freestyled anything really. So
Usually, like for me, if I freestyle something, it's a beanie. But for the most part, I'm usually either going from a pattern or I'm designing a color work beanie. Let's see. Mia says, graph learning is great by Stacy at Very Pink Knits tutorial or Rocks. Yeah. And the thing is, overall, I think I can do, lace work from a graph. It's just that I usually pull up my patterns from my phone and view it from there. So, like, it's not big enough for me to really keep looking like what's this symbol for, what's that symbol for. So you kind of gotta like, but the symbols are universal. So once you like can memorize them, life would be so much easier.
I usually print out all the patterns that I use, and then like if it has a lot of repeats that you have to do and you have to try to keep track of the rows or how many repeats you done, I'll write that part out on a separate sheet of paper and then check off each one that I do. But
sometimes I write
graphs
it out.
do come out a little bit bigger than on a phone, but I know you're supposed to read it a certain way, and then if it has the purl side and it's something different, it'll have where you go this way, and then the next row would be you read it this way. I do understand that, but I can't memorize the symbols yet, and sometimes they're so small, and it's like I'd rather have the written instructions.
Me too. To me, written's just so much easier. Because I don't want to have to keep looking back and forth.
Yeah.
Let's see. Sororo says the make one still gives me a problem because the pattern just says make one. Yeah, you have make one right and make one left. Now, if it specifies, you need to do what it specifies. If it doesn't specify, you can choose. And I'm trying to remember the one that people most commonly do. Is it left or right?
I think you put your needle from back to front, or no, it's front to back, maybe. I think, because I looked that up recently. You're actually on this cardigan. There's a point where you have to, or no, there was a point I needed to increase the stitches on the back down here after I joined. So it would, so I had to learn how to increase without making a hole of any sort. And that's when I looked up the make one stitch. And they said, if your pattern doesn't specify, this is the best way to do it. And they showed a certain way on how to do it. And I can't remember if it was you insert it back to front or front to back. But I know you go in between the stitches on the little bar that goes in between them.
And I forgot what I was gonna say. Yeah, I did do a tutorial a while back on the make one right and make one left. Now I do an extra step to it. There is, a shorter step way to do it, but for some reason I'm more comfortable doing it the way I do it. I saw a tutorial doing it this way because I have an awkwardness picking up the stitch with my left needle, that it's easier for me to pick it up with the right and then transfer it over.
Yeah.
But it still works up the same, you're still going to have a make one the way I do it.
Yeah.
I just add a couple of extra, steps to the process.
And there's
But
nothing wrong with that at all. I mean, if it still comes out the same result, who cares how many
that's
steps are to it,
that's how
right?
I feel. There's more than one way to do something. That's like some people, when it comes to doing their starting chain and crochet, some people work through, through the back bump. Some
Mm-hmm.
people do it the like having it forward and going through the front,
Mm-hmm.
and then some people do the chainless foundation.
Yeah.
You
Still
know,
works out the same.
exactly. I mean, there might be little bits of difference because I think the back bump is supposed to be neater than if you go through the front.
It
That
also
it
makes
lays flatter.
the chain go this way, like a flat edge, as compared to if you would go in the stitch this way, it makes it flat this way. So
But the differences are so minute.
yeah,
And it's like I always say, do it the way you're comfortable doing it.
yeah.
Oh, we have Mindy in the house, and she's working on a lavender headband for an order also. And how are you today, Mindy? Ooh, Anita's telling Krystal she looks beautiful today.
Oh, thank you, Anita.
Let's see. Oh, Kim's here too. How are you today, Kim? And what are you working on? Oh, and Kim likes knitting with charts. Ooh.
More power to you, Kim.
And she says, with a chart, I can look at it and see the pattern. If I have a chart, I never even glance at the written directions.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay, the make one right. You pick up the thread from the back and knit through the front.
Okay, that's what I was.
I know I get them confused. Like just thinking, like before I do one, I usually look it up. Like some stitches, I'll do that if I haven't done in a while. I'll have to, I'll look it up before I do that stitch on a pattern. I'm like, okay, how does this go again?
That's kind of what I had to do with this cardigan. All the increases that were um at these lines right here. There's 4 lines and 2 on the back and then 2 on the front. Before and after each line on the stitch marker, you had to do a left leaning increase and a right leaning increase. And it always kind of got me until about the first 3 or 4 rows after I kind of figured, okay, I remember. Then at one point they added in the V-stitch increase. On one end you do it a certain way, on the other end you do it a different way. And I had to write that down. It was a make one right and then a make one left. And that's where you inserted a certain way and knit it a certain way. And then the other side, you had to do it opposite. And I had to write it down on my pattern paper so I wouldn't keep looking at it. So I
And
know what you mean by referring back.
I forgot to mention the fact that the make one left is left leaning and the make one right is right leaning. I forgot to mention that
And
part.
that's also the same thing for the left leaning increase and the right leaning increase.
Let's see. Oh, Granny D's gotta go. Have a good day, Granny D, and I'll tell everybody to go alien invade you. Let's see. We also have Michelle here. How are you, Michelle? And what are you working on? Let's see. Oh, Michelle's working on a table runner. Oh, Mindy said they got some snow in Colorado, so it's crochet weather for her. Let's see. Kim saying, is that flax from Tin Can Knits?
Do you mean the cardigan? Because if you're referring to the cardigan, it's the Hillside Cardigan by Ashley Lillis here on YouTube.
So my next question I have is, and really The following question will probably be the same answer. I know it is for me. What is the most challenging project you have done?
Hmm.
And is it what you're most
Probably
proud of?
the Aclifia or Alcafia. I don't remember how you pronounce it, but it's probably that one, the black and red shawl I showed earlier. That was probably the most challenging because it was my first big project that it was very uncomfortable to do, but it was, let me rephrase that. It was out of my comfort zone, but I wanted to try something new. And I really wanted to try it and do something different. And so I just dove in. It was an intermediate pattern, and I was still what I believed to be was a beginner knitter. And that's where I learned a lot of different stitches. And so, yeah.
And is that the one that you're most proud of? That's the
Yes.
next question. I figured I figured it would be have the same answer.
It
For me,
took me 2.5 months to do that thing. I got it done, but it is the one I'm most proud of.
for me, well, it's not completed yet, but my peacock shawl. And but this one, the stitches itself aren't complicated. It's more
Mhm.
the fact that you just got to be careful that you don't make mistakes.
Yeah.
Because when you do lace work, it's so easy to miscount or make a little boo boo, and that's why you need your lifelines, which I
Hmm.
do have lifelines. See, but there's this one. Now, the other one that I would say would be one that was hard for me is the warming quartz shawl.
Mm.
I'm trying to get it so y'all can see it better. And the thing is, a lot of it was how the pattern was written that confused me. And I was
Yeah.
so glad when Morley Bird did a video tutorial of this one. But even then, it took a while for me to figure out what she was doing, how the pattern worked. But it's one of those weird things. It really wasn't hard in one sense, but it was hard for me to figure out the flow of the pattern. And another thing that I kept wanting to boo boo on, um what was that stitch called? There was one that it was like a triple stitch, and for some reason I didn't catch that it was triple, and I kept wanting to do like the double.
Hmm.
And I was like, why is my stitch count not coming out right? And then I finally figured it out after a while. But I was so happy whenever I was finally able to make this shawl because I had been drooling over it for a long time. And speaking of which, I'm going to warm myself up with it. It is cold. There. I'm all bundled up. Let's see, we have Dina that joined us. How are you today, Dina? And she's working on a chicken hot pad, making three of them. Nice. Thank y'all, everybody. Kim says, been a knitter for over 9 years and never used a lifeline. But when someone asks me, I always tell them to use a lifeline.
Yeah.
um, I never used a lifeline until I did lace work.
Yeah.
That's because I don't know, I have a bad habit that I guess somehow I get distracted and
Yeah.
I'll miss a stitch somehow, or I don't know what I do. But then I boo boo and my stitch count don't come out right, and then I got a frog. And when you don't have a lifeline, I don't know. I can't just I can't just fix a stitch with all the fancy stitches. I have to tear out with a lifeline and go back a few rows.
My part about unknitting, I still get confused at which way to unpurl a stitch and which way to unknit a stitch. That is my biggest. So I'd rather use a lifeline and just rip back to that. And when I was doing the Eclipia shawl and the Harani shawl, no, it wasn't the Harani, it was the Begonia Swirl. I got to the point where I would do a lifeline after every purl row, except on the easy parts where I knew I had that part down. Now, if I got to like the edging or something, or the closer to the edge, that was a little harder, or, you know, something that was a little bit more complicated, I would use the lifeline. Now, this other one that I just recently finished, not too long ago, it's the first stole I had made. And this one, I did not use a lifeline at all. And it was, I think, a 24 row repeat. And I had to do it 15 times. But it was fairly easy. And you only repeat it each little section 3 times per row. So it went very, very quickly. Now, I know y'all are not going to be able to see unless I put something under it. Hold on. Do I have anything? I have a Mary Maxim catalog. Let me see if I can find a... Nope. That ain't going to work. Oh, well. No. Anyway, I'll try to... Well, or anyway, it's little diamonds, and actually, no, that ain't gonna work. Don't worry about it. All right. I know. I have a pillow. Can you see the design?
Yeah, I can see it. So,
okay, well, that's the best I can do to try to shine it through something.
I see
but
the little white part of the pillow.
okay, so that one I absolutely loved doing, and I think I only messed up like one time the whole time, and it was like 1 or 2 stitches off, and I said, I'll just increase. I think it was 2 stitches off, and I fixed it, and the next row it came out right. So
Sometimes you can get away with that where it's not
yeah.
noticeable, but you can't always.
Yeah, I kind of knew where I had missed a stitch from the previous knit row, so I knew where it was off, so I knew how to fix it kind of in that same area on the next row.
Let's see. Kim says, I never use it with lace, but I am not scared to drop down to fix it. See, like when I try to start going like knit and purl stitches, I'm fine. But when you start doing like SSKs and knit 2 togethers, well, even knit 2 together, I can usually fix it.
Yeah.
You know, all these other things mixed in, I don't know. I don't.
Mine was the SK2P was the hardest part. I couldn't. I would always drop the knit 2 together, or they'd be twisted. You know. So when I undid them.
And the thing is that usually I end up messing up, and I just make things worse. So I find the lifelines work better for me. Let's see. We have Maritza in the house. Hi, Maritza. How are you? I hope I'm saying your name right. And what are you
That's
working?
how I say it.
Okay. Because sometimes I don't know if I'm saying names right or not. I say it how I think it would be pronounced. Yeah. Kim says I had to drop down the most at 37 stitches to fix a missed increase. However, that is fun to me. I enjoy the challenge. Anytime I make a boo-boo, I'll send it to you to fix. Let's see. Angela says, I've been knitting from March 2020. I have made Connie's beanie. Awesome. Baby blankets and baby hat and baby booties. Sweet. Kim said she could see the design on your shawl.
Okay, good.
Thank you, Kim. Oh, Teensy's in the house. Hey, Teensy. How you doing? How's oh, I'm trying to think the kitten's name. Binksy. Is that the name? I know it's something like that. Binksy. How's the little kitten doing? And what have you been working on? Teensy says, I don't read patterns, so I just look at it, figure it out, and try to go. A lot of ripping sometimes. And Kim says, when I go to the library knitting group, I let them know I am coming, and there is literally a pile of projects waiting for me to fix from locals. Oh, that's something. You're popular, Kim. All right. My next question I have, and Krystal pretty much touched on this earlier in the live. What type and weight of yarn did you learn to knit with?
Started with the 3 and couldn't do it, so I went up to a 5 and it worked out better for me.
And with me, I learned with number 4 weighted yarn, and I think it was probably Red Heart Super Saver that I was using. Yeah, Binksy, that's it. Binksy is laying on her heating pad. Oh, working on blanket from Bod. Yeah, Binksy. Yeah, I think Allie's laying on the blanket. Allie's been having fun being a little diva. I've been making the short videos with Allie, having fun with that. She's such a cutie pie. So if y'all haven't seen the shorts, go check them out. Y'all get to see Allie be cute. So what type of knitting needles did you learn to knit with?
It's the really long ones. I started out with those.
See, I always forget that technically I started off on some of the long metal ones. I don't know if they were as long as yours, but that's technically what I did start with. Then I got some of the bamboo cheap ones on eBay from China. And then, like, whenever I started working with circular knitting needles, I learned you do not want cheap knitting needles because they tend to split where the needle connects, the tubing thingy. Yeah. And someone, I think, was it Anita? I know Anita had an issue with that happening to her. But I'm trying to remember if someone else had told me about an incident. But yeah, and she figured out how to fix it. I tried. I used like tape and stuff, and it did not go well with me trying to fix it. So then I finally invested in my knit picks, and I got the aluminum. But starting off, it is best to start with bamboo. Less likely to get drop stitches. Okay, Kim, I hope you have a good day.
Bye.
TC says she learned to knit with her mom on medium size, I guess length needles. Mm-hmm. And what are some of your goals for knitting, Krystal?
Honestly, I don't really have any. I just kind of knit what I feel like, and I don't really have a place where I'm going with it or what I want to do. I just find something I want to knit and I knit it.
I'm kind of the same way. I mean, I want to do more with lace work. Then I do want to do like, knit with beads. That's something I haven't done yet. Trying to think. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I really haven't done yet. I mean, there is like, clothing like sweaters or cardigans, that type of thing. Um, I mean, I may try doing that one day. I don't know yet.
I
But
eventually, to me, a cardigan, it's split in the front, and a sweater is a complete circle. So eventually, I guess I want to do a sweater. I thought about making the one I'm working on now after I had done this one, making that one into a sweater and just connecting it and going in a circle. And I'm like, well, no, not now.
no, I do want to knit a poncho. I haven't done that yet.
Yeah.
Um, Funny thing is, I would have thought I would have knitted a poncho before I crocheted one, but it ended up being the opposite. But that's probably pretty much. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I really want to knit that I haven't yet. Let's see. Anita said I shortened the 21-inch tubing to 9-inch. It has stayed in place. You go, Anita.
But there was one time I did that to some knitting needles. It was too long, and so it was a plastic cord in between, and I cut it, shortened it, and then melted the tip and stuck them back together, and it actually stayed.
Awesome.
So, I mean, I didn't knit with it for very long, but that's when I got a different set of knitting needles. So
Yeah.
it did work for a little bit.
Now, what's funny is when I first started knitting hats, I had the long circulars, and I was using not the 9-inch, but like the size cord above the 9-inch. I think like the 12-inch or something, or 15-inch, something like that. And I didn't have much room to jiggle my stitches. And it was always a pain. So I finally invested in the short ones, and I love them. The shorts with the 9-inch tubing, so much easier.
It's kind of like when I was knitting the sleeves on this one, I needed a 16-inch, and I had like 19, and it was the shortest cord for my interchangeable set, so I couldn't do nothing. It was a metal cord, and I didn't have any that would fit those size needles, so I had to make it work, which being a bulky yarn, it was able to stretch out a little bit, so it worked okay, but it was a struggle trying to get them to space out enough, and I was constantly pushing the stitches every 2 or 3.
That's how it was with the beanies. And it's funny how long I did that for. Let's see, Teensy says my mom knitted our winter sweaters for my brothers. And every year with such pretty designs. Wish I still had one. She was more of a knitter. Ooh, nice. Anita with her hillbilly ingenuity. Yeah, Anita's something else. Trying to say I made her do that in that video. I can't believe you, Anita. I really did make her do it. Well, not really made her. I told her she should. I told her to bounce around singing.
That was a cute video, Anita. Connie made me do it.
Yep, Nisi, we're still here. Let's see, and welcome back. Sororo says, on a rainy day, my 5th grade teacher taught me how to knit. Size 8 metal needles. The yarn was a nice size scrap ball. I would knit whenever it rained, and we had to stay inside the classroom. See, I should have done that back whenever I was young, but I didn't know how to do yarn crafts.
Yeah.
Dina says, I was gifted a set of knitting hooks. I'm hoping to try them next year. Ooh, let me know how your journey goes.
I wish you best of luck, Dina.
Yep, exactly. So, what are some tips you would give to somebody wanting to learn to knit, or maybe they're new to knitting?
I would start out just doing little practice watches, practice the knit stitch, practice the purl stitch, and learn new stitches once you're comfortable with that. Not new stitches, but like a knit two together or a purl two together, and then go to a yarn over and stuff like that. Watch a lot of tutorials as you're doing it. The visualization, the visual aid will help a lot, I think. At least that's what it is for me. Watching it and then pausing the video and then doing it and then rewatch it and then pause it or try to do it with the video. That's how I learned best. Just practice everything before you jump into head 3 foot deep water, and you're drowning in something you don't know how to do. Practice.
Let's see, we have Amanda in the house. Hi, Amanda. How are you today? And what have you been working on? I love Anita's answer. My advice is don't forget to take your anxiety meds. But my suggestion, first thing, you got to get comfortable with that knit and purl stitch. Practice it. And the purl stitch is going to be, for most people, the purl stitch is more awkward. Get familiar and make sure y'all know that when you do a knit stitch, that yarn is in the back. Purl stitch, it goes in the front. Yeah. Very important. Also learn how to avoid getting drop stitches. Expect that you're going to get them initially. Expect it. But just keep practicing and it gets better.
And there is also a way to fix a drop stitch. So there is that too. So,
and I do have, I think I did 2 separate videos. One on how to fix it when you're doing stockinette stitch, and one on how to do it when you're doing garter stitch. And that's with flat knitting. Yeah, learn how to hold that on your needles, and it gets better. It really does. Now, I'm trying to think. Earlier, I had stuff in my head, and now it goes in one part of my brain and out the other. But really, the main thing is practice, practice, practice. Don't be afraid to jump into things. I recommend Morley Bernard, especially when you start working on patterns. She's very good at teaching you. Let's see. Amanda started Johnny's sweater last night. Ooh. Can't wait to see it finished. Sororo says, my knitting group that meets at a church had a Thanksgiving brunch, and I want a hook set. I can't wait to learn and try them out. Awesome. Awesome. Oh, we got a little visitor. Say hi to everyone else. She had to make her appearance. Say hi to Aunt Krystal.
Allie.
She's something else. Let's see. So, do you have anything else you would like to share when it comes to knitting?
No, I think I covered it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I think I pretty much said everything about my journey too. Tell everyone meow meow. She's gonna sniff me. Say I'm a big girl. Let everyone think that you're the diva. Oh, it's a Nook set. What's it?
that?
I've never heard of a Nook set. Amanda says when it comes to knitting, I'll stick to my looms.
And I try to loom. I can't do that. I can't get it down. Now I do have an Addy and a Centro. That's pretty easy. You just turn a handle.
Yeah. I started with loom knitting, then I went to knitting, then crochet.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I learned. She wants to snuggle.
Oh. I wish I could hold Tom. But
Oh.
I miss him sitting in my lap and me being able to pick him up. I can't even, like, say if I reached for his face this way, he swats at me or bites me. But if he's faced like this, I can pet him this way. But if I come at his face, he don't want me to do that. So, but I will hold my hands like this, and he comes to me and will love on my hand. So that's a plus.
I swat, hiss, and growl. She does. Especially with Sophie. Poor Sophie.
Yeah.
So, do you have anything going on with your channel, Krystal, that you want to tell everybody?
Tomorrow, the 5 Yarnaholics, which that includes Connie, will be live at 3 p.m. Central Time on my channel. I will have, are we doing it where whoever hosts that month does the giveaway?
Overall,
is that what we decided on?
For the most part, but if there's ever somebody that can't afford it, then we just won't do one, or maybe someone else does one, that type of thing.
Okay, because I was gonna find something to give away for the Yarnaholics, but I wasn't sure how we were doing it. So anyway, I'll probably put a little something together for a giveaway. And let's see, I have a month-long giveaway going on for November. And you go to the video, comment, and also you can get extra entries anytime you do a super chat, super sticker in a live, or a super thanks under any video. And speaking of, you just got one. And that will end November 30th, and then I draw the winner December 1st. I'm looking at Allie, how she's standing there.
I was trying to keep her from flashing her booty at everybody. Look, she's making burgers.
Let's see. And then Tuesday, I'll be live with Sabrina. I believe Friday, I'm live with Melanie of Lithalia's Little Hook with Melanie. No, not that Friday. Tuesday, the following Tuesday. So, yeah, a lot of stuff going on right now.
So I want to thank Amanda for the super chat. It was funny when Krystal started saying it. I'm like, where? I don't see nothing. It took a while to show on my screen. But yeah, thanks
because
so much.
I'm looking at the chat on a different source.
So y'all know what time it is, huh? It's biscuit time.
Hi everyone, this is the Biscuit. Thank you for sending Connie a super chat.
And thank you again, Amanda, for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Allie's like, so you have a little kitty, Amanda? You're gonna have to send me a picture of Melly. I want to see her. Or is she on one of your videos? But yeah, tomorrow's the Yarnaholics. I'm trying to think if I have anything to announce. I don't really think so. Oh, it's an outdoor kitty. Aww. Just if y'all want to see some Allie shorts, go watch her shorts. She's been having fun being in videos. Okay, you think you posted a short with her in it? Yeah, the shorts are starting to get addicting. But I think that pretty much covers everything. Unless you have something else you want to share, Krystal.
No, I'm good. But thank you for having me today.
Yeah, I think we'll go ahead and start wrapping up. I want to thank everyone for watching. I enjoyed chatting with y'all. And even Allie says meow meow. And let me play my little closing video if I can find it. Where is it? Okay, here it is. All right, so I hope everyone has a fabulous Yarny day. Be the light, and bye.